What is up, Pokemon enthusiasts? My name is Rahul Reddy, and I am the #1 ranked Pokemon TCG player in the world at the current moment. Today's video is going to be about how I got there, how my monetary expenses worked, how I spent more than budget, less than budget, an exact breakdown of everything, including my championship points earned across the season, what put me here, how stipends work, all that good stuff, to break down all that for you guys, because people have been asking me time and time again, what do you do, Rahul? Is Pokemon your full-time job? All this kind of stuff. So I'm going to break all that down for you guys in a full vacuum, complete transparency, nothing hidden from my end. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below after the video. And if you want to ask any more questions about just more topics I could help you guys to earn your invite, travel more efficiently, all that good stuff, please let me know in the comments down below. That being said, this video is a lot of information at once, so please be ready. And if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe to the channel. That helps me out a ton. That's really all I can ask from you guys. So this is the first season that money has been increased significantly, creating a world where Pokemon players can technically play for a full-time job. This is the first time that now, between competing, coaching, content creation, players can compete at a full-time job. And if we look at some of the players that are existing in the top 16 in the world, you can see that some of these players do coach. I know that Sawyer, Cal, like some of these players do coach. Indeed, Gabe, Alex, like some of these guys, I coach as well. So you can make a full-time living. However, I do have a job, to be fully transparent. Before we go into the money, any of the CP, any of that stuff, I do have a full-time job. I work as a software test engineer, making a very good salary, and I do live at home. So it's not like I'm paying rent or anything either. So those two things contribute greatly to my Pokemon playing career. I can work from home, I can work remotely, as long as it's in the United States. So a lot of the time, I'll head out on a Thursday night to a tournament and work from my hotel room on Friday while testing or doing something else, which saves me a little bit of extra time. And also, yeah. So following up with that, you can see the prize money has increased here. You've got $3K for Pittsburgh, $1K for Peoria. You can see that last year I had a pretty stellar season. I earned $6,250, and already this season I've earned $4,000, and I have $2,000 more coming from Gdansk. So you can already see how the season has impacted. Now, you can look at my CP breakdown here. This is my overall season breakdown so far. I attended 8 league challenges, and I won 4 and got second at 2. So I pretty much am done with league challenges when it comes to that metric. I can replace the 2 seconds if I want to, but I went ahead and pushed. I pushed pretty aggressively to go to league challenges that were on off days because of the flexibility that I can work from home. So going to a league challenge on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night doesn't really affect me too much. But a lot of these league challenges were within the hour drive. Like, I wouldn't go past an hour for any league challenge, I don't think, because they're plentiful. There's one every month at any of your local stores. So get them at some point, but you do want to make sure you get the most efficiency out of your league challenges and league cups, because those do lead to a majority of your championship points towards the World Championship Series. So out of my max of 90, like I can put here what the maxes are for each number. 90 here, cups is 300. Regionals is, I'm not even gonna put a max here. These are the 2 maxes we hear about more than anything. Regionals and ICs, you're not maxing those, man. Like, no one is maxing those. So out of my potential 90 challenge points, I've picked up 84, which means I'm in a really good spot for those. Now we're looking at cups. 237 have been picked up out of my 300. I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cups have been played as well. So I played 8 cups and 8 challenges. Cups are a little bit trickier to find just because they are a quarter at each store. There are 4 quarters, so you should keep an eye out for those on the Pokemon TCG event locator to just kind of see when events are going up, how things are going to be working. And in my personal experience, I've kind of just, like, you can see my cups are a little bit scattered. I've played pretty much the ones that were near me more than anything. I haven't really driven outside my wheelhouse besides House of Cards, which is almost 3 hours away from me. Besides that, the rest of them are all like less than an hour, a little bit over an hour if I was staying at a friend's house. Like Chesapeake was about an hour, but I was staying at a friend's house the night before to do some One Piece stuff, board game night, something like that, adult activities. And I have 2 wins, 2 seconds, a top 4, and a top 8, and I would ideally like to have 6 finals, because I think 6 finals puts you in a really good spot. Even if you have all 6 finals, keep in mind that's still 60 points that you're missing from the overall pot of your 300, which does impact you significantly moving forward into the season, because every single one of those 10-point benchmarks that you can pick up there is 1 less potential regionals you have to attend, or 1 less tournament you have to attend outside of your own wheelhouse. Regionals, I've attended 5 regionals so far. Picked up championship points at every single one, and the best finish limit is 6. So at some point, some of these like lesser earning ones, which is only one for me, which is Sacramento, and I guess Toronto as well, I would like to replace with top 32s or better this upcoming season. Ideally, I would like more than one top 8, but so far this season has been pretty nice to me, pretty kind to me. And here's the cream of the crop. Here's how you work on your invite. What's put me really in the front running of the race, which is internationals. Internationals award a ton of CP moving forward into the season. Top 512 earning 60 championship points is quite a lot. That is the same record that you have to get potentially 10 wins, 2 losses, like 31 to 33 match points at a regionals, which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it. But you can do that at like a 4-4-1 record or a 5-4 record. And there's going to be 2 more internationals, Europe and North America. So if you are going for a world championship invite, I would highly account for budgeting for both of those tournaments if possible, because those will increase your value and chances of getting a world championship invite significantly more than going to something like a regionals. Like yes, you want to get your 6 regional finishes, but also if you can just sacrifice a regionals to end up going to EUIC and budget for that instead, going 5-4 and picking up 60 CP sounds pretty insane to me. So now let's break down the comp. So this is what kind of like brought me to number 1 in NA. I have 721 actually. The 80 from LAKEY has not been uploaded, so I'm not technically number 1. There is probably a player or two that has performed better than me that is sitting pretty, but you know, for the time being, the rankings show me at number 1, so I am number 1. Take that. So that being said, you know, my season is pretty much good. I'm locked at Worlds. I'm rocking. How much did I spend? How much did Rahul spend? And how did I mitigate costs or whatever? How can I make it cheaper for you? So listen carefully. Just don't look just at the numbers. Listen very carefully to the words I'm going to say here, because I spent more than what normal other people would in pursuit of things like status, airline status, paying a little bit extra out of pocket to fly higher levels of flights, just to treat myself a little bit, because I never have in my life, and this is a cool thing to do. If I'm gonna do it, I might as well have some fun with it, you know. So let me break it all down for you as we go. So here is my season breakdown. The way I've been breaking it down, let me move my face a little bit, probably helps out. The way I've been breaking it down here is challenges, cups, regionals, ICs. You can see it's color coded, super simple to understand. Entry cost in the left hand column. Travel if it's a 2-hour drive or flight. If it's over a 2-hour drive, it's usually probably going to be a 2-hour there, 2-hour back, which ends up being about a tank of gas. So at that point, I have to account for it. If I had something else I was doing anyway that I was going to go for, I don't count it. Like let's say I was going to New York to visit my sister, and I decided to play a cup on Sunday before I headed home. Like I'm not going to count that as travel costs. Like I was going to go see my family anyway, right? It's just something on the road. And then I accounted for accommodation. I'll explain why some of these are $0 in accommodation. Most of them are 0 because they're not regionals. I don't need to stay anywhere for cups and challenges. I just come back home to my wonderful, wonderful bed that's right here. And then I have pricing in dollars, which is accounted for here. Money is more than likely, if it's not a regional, it's almost certainly store credit, which I still count as prize money because store credit contributes to sleeves, which I usually just pick up sleeves if I don't know what I'm going to get in a store, because you always need sleeves. I usually use 2 to 3 packs of sleeves at a tournament, and 2 to 3 packs of sleeves comes out to like $30 US, maybe a little bit more depending on the brand you're using, depending on the price and the markup you're picking them up at. So I just kind of blow all my store challenge or like my store credit on sleeves if I'm not going back to that store in particular. This doesn't even include like the play mats that you win, all this other hubbub. And then I have pricing in packs here, which is an interesting breakdown as well because it's a metric where boxes are worth a raw amount of value. They appreciate over time, yada, yada, etc., etc. There's a whole science to that and a collector side to it, which is not my wheelhouse, so I'm not really going to get into it because that's not what you guys are here to see. But just keep in mind, if there's any sealed boxes, I usually keep them sealed and put them away. Like, just I put them into my parents have a room that's like a storage room. Just put it into there. Been doing it since 2019. But there was days back in college where I would sell these boxes on the spot at regionals to pay for a future regionals. So that being said, let's look at overall costs. Entry, and so even in this metric, I have 3 tournaments that I have paid for already that I have not even traveled to. I have a cup and 2 regionals, Portland being a little bit more of an expensive one, and I have Charlotte's accommodations here as well. Listed, that is more expensive, that I have not, paid for out of pocket. So there's about $1,000, $1,200 here if you want to be precise. that is unaccounted for in my prize earnings right now, and $1,000 stipend that I've earned as well from getting 5th place in the overall rankings heading into the European International Championships. That's also unaccounted for. So in reality, I'm up about $3,500 on the season, which is pretty insane. And this is with me paying more out of pocket and going a little bit more above and beyond, right? So entry fees is a fixed cost, I think, for all tournaments. You have to account for that being pretty much a fixed cost. You can't really adjust that. You're going to go to the tournament no matter what. You have to just account for it. It's awful that we have to pay $70. We're not really getting an experience out of it. We're just getting a mat and a promo, whatever. Different discussion, different day, different fight that we need to take. But for the cost of finances, there is no emotion in finance. Also, my credibility is I have a finance and economics degree at a accredited university. So I have 2 degrees in business. So this is like kind of second nature to me. So fixed costs here is our entry costs, and then the travel costs you can mitigate by doing flights or drives. If you are within 8 hours, some people like to drive more. Obviously, you have to weigh that your time versus money. If you are younger or have less responsibilities, no wife, no kids, no girlfriend, no job, stuff like that, maybe driving is better for you. You want to save costs, stuff like that. I drove to, Pittsburgh Regionals, but I had to include parking garages here. See, I have a little footnote saying, why is it $120? Even though it's like a tank of gas there and back. Well, had to pay for parking garages across the weekend because I didn't feel safe doing street parking. You can see that Peoria was like a $211 flight. Sacramento was $436. Toronto, $177. LAIC was $1,100. Gdansk, $822. Portland, $531. And Charlotte, $168. A lot of these flights also are not on basic economy. If you opt to go basic economy with a Chase, there's a lot of travel cards out there actually, like travel cards that are only $100 per year annually fee, which if you're going to travel for regionals to multiple, even 3 or 4 with flights, I think I would highly recommend picking up one of these. The Chase credit card gives me a bag, like a carry-on and a checked bag if I fly United on basic economy, but I was going for platinum status for the first time in my life. I wanted to try something. I've never really been a status hunter. I've really just been a basic economy bitch my entire life. I kind of just grab a backpack, call it a day. I did that all of college. That's how I went to as many tournaments as I did. I was very cost efficient with everything across the board there. And so when push comes to shove, I definitely went a little bit above and beyond on this one. Like for LAIC, my flight would have been about $750 if it was basic economy, but I ended up going above and beyond to this amount because I had a friend's father who could upgrade us to business for free. So I've never flown Lie-Fly business class, and I was like, that sounds super cool. It's a 10-hour flight. I really want to do this. So I'm doing a couple things that are like outside of my wheelhouse, but I'm explaining to you guys how you can make it cheaper. Gdansk, also a similar situation. I could have gone for $550. However, I went on the way back. I upgraded to Lie-Fly business because I was like, I top 32. I might as well treat myself, or not top 32. I top 16. I got $2,000. It's only $300 to go up. I might as well treat myself a little bit. I've got a long flight home. So these are just things that I have impulse done for myself. You guys don't need to do these things. In fact, I recommend that you don't do these things unless you have a day job that supplements what you already do, because this is all just money that is on the side. Like my day job money goes to other financial aspects, goes to other things. Like there is another whole slew of like stocks and investments and stuff that I do on the other side. This is Pokemon money, paying for Pokemon money. Now I also have a high-end big boy credit card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, with a $550 annual fee. Absolutely worth it in my opinion if you can get it if you're traveling, or even just paying bills or whatever, because it gives you $300 back in travel credit once per year. So you're realistically only paying $250 if you're going to like take a flight somewhere, because that just covers a free flight. Like one of your flights is just free for the year. Yes, you're paying for the fee, so like think about it like that. Like maybe you're just getting a flight out of it. $100 credit for like a bunch of stuff like DoorDash and DoorDash Premium and like Lyft Pink and all this like mumbo jumbo that like I just took all the free signups. Like, call it a day. My sister uses my Instacart over in New York, and then you also get like a bunch of points, and these points, Chase points, are the most transferable in the world. So now Chase points become your bread and butter when you are booking accommodation a lot of time, because sometimes these hotels that are in walking distance or right next to the venue are pretty expensive. And so with hotels, what I like to do is like to split between 3 people, like so 4 people total in the room. I don't like more than that because I don't really want people to sleep on the floor. I don't really want. I'm at a phase in my life as an adult where I would like to have a bed. I don't mind sharing with someone at the moment. Depends on how much older I get soon, but like I just will sleep wherever I want to sleep and call it a day. So the big thing with accommodation is you want to start using those points when things get really expensive. So sometimes venue hotels are not going to be cheap, so you can use these points that you've accrued over just having statuses. Number one thing you should be doing is making an email and an account for every single thing that you're booking. So if you're booking a Marriott hotel, make a Marriott account. If you're booking a Hyatt hotel, make a Hyatt account. Put everything into a notepad, spreadsheet, whatever you want to do, whatever's easiest for you to track, because these points accrue. Statuses accrue. Something that I wish they taught me. I learned a lot earlier when I was younger. But these things stack up and your quality of life will go up significantly. You will get discounts. You will get easier trips, whatever, etc. So the first thing, Pittsburgh, 0 is a donkey egg here. You can see. I was staying with a friend that lived nearby, so didn't really want to, I made it a 2-for-1. I was already going to drive into the city like 20 minutes. None of the hotels nearby were cheap enough, so I decided, hey, let me couch surf. No shame in that. If there's family, there's friends, whatever, don't be a stranger. Don't be a bum, obviously, but you can ask for a favor and get in there and do your thing. Peoria was 85. The hotels weren't too expensive. The block rates were pretty nice. I ended up splitting between a couple people. Worked out pretty nicely. Sacramento, our hotel was a little bit further, so we traded off the cost of a walking distance hotel for a 15-minute Uber hotel, which is, sometimes that's what you got to do. We saved a couple $100 on this, and we had 6 people to a suite. Basically, we got an upgraded suite due to a friend's dad, and who had better status than me, so we applied that there. And we were able to do that. And sometimes at these things, by the way, also, I don't account for food in these costs, because I think food is a necessary expense regardless. And I'm just going to buy an energy drink and I don't know, the minimalist food. And then we'll have one good group dinner, which if I'm home anyway, I'm going to go out with friends, maybe go to a restaurant, dress up nice, go out with parents. I'm going to do something anyway with my money. So it's I don't really count the pennies there. I don't pinch the pennies. But if you go to these hotels sometimes and have status as well, you get access to these lounges that have free soda, free bottles of water, free food, and this tides you over throughout the day, and it just starts adding up incrementally. Throughout my flights, by the way, to LAIC, to Poland, all this stuff, I went to the lounge every single time I had a layover. Anything I have, I just walk in the lounge, eat a nice hearty meal, whatever they have offered, get a couple of sodas, get a couple of bottles of water, and call it a day. If you're a drinker, if you like wine, if you like beer, they've got all that in lounges too. So take my advice, sign up for these things, because they work. You're thinking maybe I'm only going on 1 flight or only 2 flights. These add up as soon as you start thinking about the next season, the next step in your career. I had a lot of adults steer me in the right direction with this, even my father. So I had a lot of experience. So Toronto was a little bit expensive of a hotel because this is the cost of not staying near the venue as well as Ubers. But that also ended up being a Halloween weekend in a booming downtown that's young, full of life, and it happens. So you have to account for these as well when you're looking at regionals. So my cost of a very cheap flight, it's also just an 8-hour drive that I didn't feel like doing, is traded off here with accommodation. So overall, still a net whatever. Then we moved to Sao Paulo, where this is an area that had much cheaper hotels across the board. We were able to split between people in a comfortable manner, and it just kind of worked out. This is also for ICs, you should account for more. I'm looking into Cal's for EUIC at the current moment, and it is very expensive. So if you're planning to go to EUIC, London is very, very expensive because the Great Britain pound is very, very strong. So flights are probably going to be close to $1,000 for everyone, and then even for me from the East Coast, which is saying something. And then hotels are not cheap. Hotels are not cheap in London. So keep that in mind. That'll probably be one of the most expensive, if not most expensive trip for a lot of players this season. So keep that in mind when you head out there. And then, same thing with Gdansk, where it's $80 out of the pocket. We stayed in Airbnb, split it a couple ways, 2 ways. And then I haven't booked Portland yet, so I don't know what the cost is. I usually just put down the full cost before I split it with people. So for me, for Charlotte, it came out to $446 for 2 nights. Pretty reasonable. Friday, Saturday, I'm out Sunday. This is probably going to be split between 2 or 3 people. So at the end of the day, it'll come out to 100 something for me. And the costs still work out. I do have a stipend to add on here as well. So financial wise, this is what I do. Tips and tricks that I do is I have Google Flight alerts on for all the regionals as soon as the season begins. I don't usually typically book more than 3 months out, unless it's an IC and I find a really good deal. I have, because you sign up for a lot of flight emails or whatever, JetBlue, Southwest accounts, whatever, I will keep track of my email. Once a day, I'll just check my email and see, oh cool, there's a sale. Let's see what we're cooking with. And if there's a cool sale that may work out, then I break my status quo. This season, I've flown only United across the board, actually, except for, only United across the board, actually, for every single flight. because I was trying so hard to get status. But now that my status quest is done, I've acquired the status that I want. The calendar year will reset this thing when Knoxville is coming up, when when let's say Vancouver is coming up. I don't care which airline I take. I will take whatever is the cheapest potentially, or if it's like a $50 difference, I will take United because I'll get my free upgrades, which is all I really want. If I don't get a free upgrade, well, that sucks for me. But that is what I worked towards. But you guys don't have to spend that level of money is what I'm saying. There is a very efficient way of doing these things. Credit cards, using your points efficiently. And you accrue points just by paying things like bills. So like these points are just going to come in because you have your day-to-day expenses that happen from time to time, right? Like just by paying bills, you'll get like, I don't know, 3 times the points per dollar or whatever it is. And you're like, oh, cool, I can use these points for everyday purchases or travel or whatever. And they accrue a lot faster than you think, especially if you have like recurring payments that you have to be doing. Hotel statuses, whatever, right? Like I'm looking at USU right now and I'm probably going to use points to book it just because all the hotels are too expensive and I don't really want to justify spending what would be like $1,500 split between 2 people for like 4 days, which is ridiculous. Like, absolutely absurd. But yeah, I know there was a lot of information, but this is what catapulted me to become number 1 in the world. I am very smart with my travel. I feel like I am not overstepping my bounds. People like to say that I use daddy's money, or I have an adult working job so I can pay for all this stuff. But I think there's a realistic way to do it very smartly. And I've done it through college too. Like I did it through college where like I backpacked. I flew Spirit. I flew Frontier out of Florida, out of Orlando. Every flight, like I took odd timings. I had to fly weird things because I was in college as well, so I had to work on my classes, exams. Like I made it work in college when I didn't have any money. When I was every single tournament that I would win a box, I would walk straight to the vendors and take that $70 in cash because I needed it. Where I would go play locals, getting a ride from people from college because I didn't have a car. I would get rides from people in college that were heading in a certain direction of a card store, and then get a ride back from someone else just to go play locals and pick up like $80 in store credit if I did well, which then I would buy cards and then sell them to people at the store or outside the store or whatever so that I could get some more cash in my pocket. Like I did a lot of things to get where I am here, to live this life of luxury. So if you have any questions about how to do those kinds of like things, please let me know in the comments. Like I know flights have gotten a lot more expensive post-COVID, so yeah, this is just a lot of information that I'm trying to throw at you guys at once. I know there are people out there saying that you can travel for under $300 to every single tournament, or $700 every single IC, which I think is PokeDuels' tweet that he put out. But like that's just unreasonable. You can't expect that level of like cheapness. That's absolutely absurd. Like I'm not driving 36 hours places. Like that's ridiculous. You people have lives. Like there's no reason you should be driving 36 hours. If you're doing it, good for you. And I've been there. I drove 16 hours to a regionals once, so I've done it in my time. But like, it's just a trade-off on value and time and all that good stuff. So hopefully this helps out a ton. This is where my season is right now. This should be probably up another, like, technically I'm up like at 3,300, probably 3,387 or whatever. But like, I already booked these, so I just like to put them in here anyway. Like it's just there because it just saves me time on doing them later. But yeah, that all being said, thank you guys for watching. I know there's a lot of information. Hopefully this was helpful. If it wasn't, I'm sorry for wasting your 25 minutes or 23 minutes or whatever I did. But please let me know if this actually does something for you guys, because I love doing content like this where I can break down and be as transparent as possible about my season, the journey I took to get here, and help others follow a similar journey to the World Championships and their Pokemon career or whatever goals they want to achieve. So thank you, as always. Much love. Please like and subscribe. Peace out, Rahul.